CPAN app for browsing the CPAN, the Comprehensive Perl Archive Network. And I didn't find anything. And so I thought, well, I want to learn Android, and this would be a fun sort of thing to do, and MetaCPAN exists now, so maybe I'll give it a try. So I put this together, and I have published it. It's on the Google, not Market, not Android Market, the Google Play Store. That. It costs $2.99. You can buy it in almost everywhere but Taiwan. Google does not sell in Taiwan because Taiwan has a legislative requirement of a 7-day return policy that Google refuses to adhere to. The iTunes Store happily goes, yep, sure, whatever. And they don't have a return policy at all anywhere else. I was going to have a check here to give to somebody from the Perl Foundation, since I give all the money that is earned to them, but I don't have my checkbook with me. So I owe them $48.34. I'm hoping a few more people will buy after seeing this talk. So next month I'll have a little more on the payout. The other thing is it's also open source. So if you'd like to give Android a try, it's there. It's built as an Eclipse project. You might have to set up some things about your environment a little weird because some of it's tailored to kind of my development environment right now because I'm the only developer. But you could download it and build it and install it without having to pay $2.99 if you wanted to do that. And you should go give your $2.99 or more to the Perl Foundation while you're at it. That's what it looks like. It's very exciting. That's pretty much the whole app. This is a picture of it on a tablet. That's not there. That moved to there a while back, but I didn't take a new screenshot. So this shows the tablet version. It works just fine on a phone. On a phone, you would only see the sidebar, and then you do a search, and then it would, if you clicked on an item, it would show you the pod. So it loads. Right now, it does just searching modules. It will show you, the titles, the authors, the release information, the ratings, the favorites, and then if you click on it, it shows the pod. It does not do some other things which I'd like it to do, like you can't view release information. Like if you clicked on that header up there, I would like it to take you to, here's all the other modules in this release. Here's a list of other releases. You can go look at the documentation for each of those releases. That it doesn't do. I would like you to be able to click on the gravatars and see the author's information and see all of their releases. I would like you to be able to see this yellow or orange button highlighted in blue if you had actually favorited them, and then be able to tap on that button and favorite it or unfavorite it yourself. I would like you to be able to click on the ratings and go to the CPAN rating site. All these things, but they take time, and I've spent the last little while trying to fix this so that I wouldn't be embarrassed to show you, for you guys to look at my code when I got to the talk. So how does it work? It works using MetaCPAN. Can I get a round of applause for the guys who did MetaCPAN? I am really happy about that. We'd been talking about, I remember a few years back, Pet Dance, Andy Lester raising some issues about, well, CPAN, search.cpan's kind of stale, it's really proprietary, we'd like to have something else. And the guys who came along with MetaCPAN sort of have taken it and run with it, and they've made it so that not only do they have a great search application, but they made it so that, there's an API underneath it, so anybody else can make their own competing application, really. Or you can do a tablet app or a phone app or a BlackBerry app if you're really into dying technologies. Something. But how does it work? How do I get it to go? Well, there's this documentation out there on GitHub on how to use the API. And I found it a little helpful, kind of get me started, but not really helpful. Like not hardly at all helpful, actually. Let's just be honest. It's just there to sort of say here it is. It's the API itself is really this thing called Elasticsearch under the hood, which is actually Java, but it doesn't have any. I mean, it has some documentation, but I didn't really find it to be all that helpful either. It's really geared towards you sort of using their API in Java, and they have this REST client thing that is added onto it, but yeah, you can't really use it. Now, the cool thing is, since Android's in Java, I thought, hey, cool, maybe I could use the Elastic Path API to do some stuff. No, you can't, because it expects to work with the Elasticsearch server directly, not with the REST API, and they don't have a REST API in Java. They have it for several other languages, but not Java. There's also this, which is linked from there. This is really cool. It's kind of fun to play with. You can go ahead and, if you understand what any of that means, you can go and write some queries and try out some things. And they have some nice predefined queries on, this is Explorer, was it Explorer? Yeah, that, but it's this link here, that MetaCPAN Explorer link at the top. It's like explorer.metacpan.org or something like that. And this is a nifty little JavaScript app that queries the API and then gives you back the response in JSON, just so you can sort of play with it, see what it does. I use this to help me get started and figure out what some of these things do. But it took some playing with to figure out all the details. But honestly, it still didn't tell me what I needed to know to get my own MetaCPAN style application going. What time is it? All right. So I'm going to... Shh. He's a really good guy. I really liked him. He's still a good guy. Oh, yeah. So, awesomely, all of MetaCPAN is also open source, and I can read the code. And that is the secret. And he's Japanese, has a great accent, and it was more fun to hear him say, he would jump up and down, "You must read the code," So yes, you must read the code to understand how to do MetaCPAN. So I went in and I looked through. This is actually probably the most important one for module search. You can read through what it does, and it looks something like this. Here's just a little snippet. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. It's kind of long and drawn out, and there are lots of function calls going on in here. Well, you know what? That looks an awful lot like they're building some sort of JSON, and it is. They're building JSON. So I watched what they did and how they did it, and figured out that that maps into about this in JSON. And so now I just got to get that into my Java app. Well, building JSON in Java is hard. It's really hard. Have you ever tried to build an object in Java and then fill it with more objects, and then fill it with more objects, and then fill it with more objects. It's like, why would you do that? Why did they write it that way? It's insane. So I built a little micro templating language instead. So I write JSON with JSON, and then I fill in little bits. So I treat it like a string, and then fill in bits with more stuff. So I start with a template that looks like this. I've snipped out all of the extra verbiage just so we can focus on it. You can see these little percent notations for interpolation. And I picked that because, I don't know, I just did. I didn't figure I'd use percent signs in my JSON, I guess. If I ever do, then maybe I'll do the bracket percent, I don't know. And then the little bar S just gives it a format. So we have bar S, a string that gets escaped, or bar J, which is a raw JSON value, which might actually be a JSON fragment, which toStrings itself to the right thing, which was useful in cases. So you saw in that original slide, they had some function calls going on. Turns out it's really handy to have some objects that can generate their own JSON for you and inject them into the template in the right way. That's kind of what we did. So you can see on here the size is an integer, so we don't really need to escape anything. The query string up there needs to be cleaned up. The clean query is the same thing. If you read through the code, you'll see that they take the string you type and they clean it up just a tiny bit more for that one. And I don't know. I honestly don't even know why on a lot of this. I know I actually have learned a lot about how Elasticsearch queries worked as I went through it. There's a lot there, and it's really cool. I mean, it's really flexible. You can make some really nice queries, but I don't understand like a lot of the policy decisions that went into the MetaCPAN team. But fortunately, they've made them, and I don't have to know why they made them. I just have to copy them. That's a great thing about open source. Another thing that you have to worry about doing this, so the other thing I pulled from it is that there's actually about 4 queries that have to run each time you do a module search on CPAN. Okay, I got 3 minutes. You have to search for the module, so the keyword search is what that was. And then there's these other 3 searches. You have to find the author gravatar URLs, because that's not included in what's returned from the module information. You have to do another query on the favorites collection to get the list of favorites, who's favorited everything, how many favorites there are for each thing, and then CPAN ratings so you can get the list of ratings. So they've got these are each in 4 different indexes: modules, authors, favorites, and ratings. And you have to grab each. And then off of CPAN, if you want to show the gravatars, you have to go and, of course, fetch those from gravatar. So if you want to build your own MetaCPAN application on Android, you install Eclipse or whatever. You set up the Android SDK, learn how to program Java. And Android. You're going to have to understand concurrency, or your app's going to be so slow no one will ever want to use it. And concurrency in Java is also hard. Android has some tools that make it easier, but they don't. You have to learn how to build a UI, which is really hard for probably most of us in here. You need to hire your sister or your brother to make you a logo. You have to set up a Google Play. Is it Market or Store? Play? That. Yeah, I know, but But Google Play is not a place you buy things. Google Play is like an action you take. Play is not a noun. Google Play. You have to set up an account. It costs $25 to start, just to keep the spammers out, I guess. Yada, yada, yada. Profit, or donate your profits to the appropriate charity. Or you can fork CPAN. Sidekick. Patches are welcome. Any questions?
When you download Eclipse, there's like a bunch of candid distributions, one for C, one for C++ development. Is there one for Android development?
No, you download the one. You download the regular one for Java, and then you go to Android's website, and they tell you where you have to do their update. And you set up an update site, and then you download the rest of the stuff. And and if you do that, it installs all the SDK for you because it gives you a little tool that manages the SDK and installs the SDKs for you. Yeah.
Consider Perl for Android?
I have considered it. I have not seriously pursued it.
There should be a session just on that.
Okay.
No, they're having some progresses on it.
The problem just comes in unless you have a rooted phone or a phone that is dropping you down to Perl, they're not going to make it very easy for us to get it.
Yeah.
No, you could set it up using SL4A.
Yeah, there's SL4A, and it sort of works.
Yeah, it's a Java RPC interface, and you can hook up your. And now people have been able to create distributions on Google Play that include Perl embedded with SL4A, so you can just download it.
Well, and that may be something we go to. If nothing else, I mean, it could be a nice way of being able to have like a little sandbox where you can run Perl code inside of, or something. But I'm probably not going to write an app in Java in Perl that calls Java. That's probably just not going to happen. Yeah.
The little mini templating language, is that something you think you could open source separately, or it's just too purposed?
I don't know that it's that valuable. It's like, oh, hello, where'd it go? Hi, Earth, or solar system thingy. It's not big, and it's not very robust either.
A lot of CPAN modules are not big and not very robust.
No, that's true. That's true. It could be, but like, what am I going to do? Put it on Maven I mean, there's no equivalent easy to distribute way in Java. I'll just put it. If anything, you can just fork it from there.
Did you try PhoneGap?
Who?
PhoneGap. No, obviously not.
No.
It's like it's a way of building applications using HTML, basically.
Yeah, I do HTML at work all day. I don't want to do it anymore. That's part of the reason I was looking into this, because I really hate web programming.
I got a question to you.
Yeah.
I know you can run both on Android. How good is it? Like, can you make a UI with it?
I think you can. I have not tried it. There have been a few projects to do it. SL4A is probably the one that works best now. SL4A scripting languages. There's also Python and Ruby and I think even PHP. Yeah, Karthik. Oh, sorry.
But so one of the things I looked at when I was looking at the little things that allow you to search for CPAN is if I search for something on my Android phone or whatever, and I find what I want, then in order to be able to do something with the module, maybe I'll want to make a note of it someplace, and then when I get to my computer, have the list of modules that I found that do the things I needed. Is there any kind of sync mechanism or save this here, but you do it on my computer when I'm ready to actually start coding?
No, that would be a good feature though. Having a share, there's a standard sharing widget thing you can put in, and that would probably be the way to do it. Because then you could just say share it on something else. I mean, I don't if there was a way. I mean, make it a favorite. If we ever had that, if I can get that, I don't know how to do the UI, the user logging in stuff is the challenge on there. I don't know how to do that from an app.
You might in the near future quite be easily able to, like, say, call the API to get the document in, say, like EPUB or something like that.
So you can get the documentation using the MetaCPAN API?
Yeah, you can get all the documentation as HTML in the MetaCPAN API.
Oh, it's HTML.
Yeah.
After all, product.
Yes, Ezrod PA too. And one thing I would like to do is have it so that you could have an offline mode, and then you could just keep, say all of your favorites on my tablet, which doesn't have Wi-Fi most places I go outside my house. So, all right. Well, I'm already way late, so if you guys have another talk to go to in another room, you're probably going to have to hustle. Thank you.